Welcome to today's session on cultivating the next generation of STEM leaders that's being sponsored by the U.S. Department of Commerce. To kick us off today, we have Mr. Benjamin Friedman, Deputy Undersecretary for Operations from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. Ben?
Hello, and welcome to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today alongside so many great leaders, students, and partners, especially to be introducing this important panel on cultivating the next generation of STEM leaders. The Department of Commerce and NOAA have long been dedicated to supporting student training opportunities and increasing participation of students from traditionally underrepresented minority communities, as well as developing eligible candidates in support of a diverse future workforce. And at NOAA in particular, we are just keenly aware of the need for diversity within our ranks. And we've made an enormous effort to work with minority serving institutions to develop diverse talent for the future. And it really goes beyond just the importance of having diversity in the workforce, which we all know has been shown to improve decision-making and productivity. At NOAA, it's particularly important to have diverse employees because we provide so many vital services to the American public. We like to say at NOAA that our mission takes us from the surface of the sun to the bottom of the ocean, and that's really true. We literally have a satellite that watches the surface of the sun for emanations off the sun, what we call space weather, and the impacts on Earth. And on the other end, we go to the bottom of the ocean with deep sea exploration. And we do everything in between, from atmospheric and weather sciences to being the premier climate data and services agency to all things ocean, protecting fisheries and endangered species, handling marine debris, and charting and protecting our coasts. So we're a science agency, but through our weather forecasts and climate and environmental products, we like to say that we touch every American's life every day. And to do that, we have to look like America. It's particularly important because we have to communicate with America, particularly during severe weather and climate events. So it's critical for us to diversify. And we have a long history of working with minority serving institutions through, in particular, our educational partnership program with minority serving institutions, which is our largest education program. Last year, we provided about $20 million to 4 cooperative science centers, which do research in NOAA's areas of science and support undergraduate and graduate students in our sciences. And these 4 lead universities actually represent an additional 24 other minority serving institution partner universities. The 4 key universities, the leaders are in the atmospheric sciences and meteorology, Howard University; in Earth System Sciences, City College of New York; in coastal and marine ecosystems, Florida A&M; and in living marine resources, the University of Maryland at Eastern Shore. But again, each one of these universities also works with other universities in these fields. The Educational Partnership Program supports students who are trained by faculty, but they're monitored by NOAA staff and they earn degrees in the NOAA sciences. And the Educational Partnership Program, Undergraduate Scholarship Program, has supported students from over 100 minority serving institutions, most of which are HBCUs. Over 4,200 students have been supported by this program since 2001, with over 2,500 post-secondary degrees awarded. And even more remarkable, of the doctoral degrees in NOAA's fields in the US awarded through the Educational Partnership Program, 54% of African-American doctorates in atmospheric sciences have gone through this program. 35% of African Americans in marine sciences and 30% of African Americans in environmental sciences. So we've had a remarkable impact on our field and in the sciences that we focus on. We also provide an undergraduate scholarship program as part of this program, up to $45,000 for 2 years of education and 2 paid summer internships. We've had about 220 students go through this program since 2001, with over 75% of them going on to graduate programs. It's also important to emphasize that we've worked with Congress to give us special legislation, providing us to do direct hires of those doing interns with us. And the goal here is to really create a pipeline. We provide scholarships and support to minority serving institutions. We provide lots of internship opportunities for students at these institutions. And then we hire right out of these internship programs. And let me just take a moment to brag. For the last 4 years running, Noaa has been named to the U.S. Black Engineer and Information Technology magazine's top historically Black college and university supporters list. And this recognition really shows how Noaa's sustained efforts to increase diversity in STEM talent pipeline have taken hold. So I encourage everyone interested to look into Noaa's educational partnership program and our other programs. And of all the others you're going to hear about today from the panel of my colleagues from across the Department of Commerce, who will be talking to you about a range of upcoming workshops, programs, and other opportunities for you to get involved with here at Commerce. So thank you, and I'll now turn this back over to Joanne for further discussion.
Thanks, Ben. And that's what I call not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. And we are very proud to be a sister agency, each of us, to Noaa and all of the remarkable work that you're doing. Thanks so much. It's an honor to have you here with us today, Ben. So now we're going to jump right into the session. I'll start off. My name is Joanne Hill. I serve as Chief of the Office of Business Development at the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Agency. A little bit about MBDA. We are the only federal agency that is specifically designed to foster the growth and global competitiveness of minority business enterprises throughout America. How do we do that? We do that through grants that we fund to business development, business centers that are located throughout the United States. These business centers help those small minority-owned businesses with access to contracts, that's both public and private sector, access to capital, both traditional as well as alternative sources of capital, and global markets, helping them to go global. We also have a portfolio of other programs and initiatives under our agency that helps minority-owned businesses. Just to name a few, we have an Enterprising Women of Color initiative. We have an export initiative. We have an advanced manufacturing initiative, American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian initiative, as well as an Inner City Innovation Hub program. But most notably, our newest portfolio of investments are minority serving institutions. And we just closed the competition around minority colleges and universities. At this time, we have partnerships with roughly a half dozen. I don't want to get into calling names, a half dozen HBCUs that we're partnering with, but we are very, very proud of our growing portfolio. And I would encourage you to stay on the lookout because we will be expanding our investment into minority serving colleges and universities. And of course, that is inclusive of historically Black colleges and universities. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that I am a graduate, a proud graduate of Benedict College, Columbia, South Carolina. So for those of you who might be out there listening from Benedict, from Columbia, shout out. So with that, I'd like to get us started. In today's session, you're going to learn about research and innovation opportunities in the Department of Commerce. Each of the panel members, again, that will speak and present today are senior leaders here within the U.S. Department of Commerce. They'll share with you new opportunities for workshops, research, and scholarships, as you just heard from Ben, and a lot about the new initiatives that we have going on here at the Department of Commerce. We are all going to be talking to you and encouraging you to send students our way. We want to be a breeding ground for the next generation of STEM leaders. And so with that, and without further ado, I will introduce our panel member. They will share a bit about themselves with you and other programs and services that they offer. So to kick us off, I'd like to start with Janita Pritchett, who is the Acting Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Dr. Pritchett?
Thank you so much, Joanne. It is such a pleasure to be here speaking to you all today. And I too am a proud HBCU graduate. I am a graduate of the Tennessee State University, and I hope that some of my fellow Tigers are in the building watching this session. As was mentioned, I am currently the Acting Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, but I actually started my career within the federal government as a scientist. I came to Nist almost 11 years ago as an Nrc postdoc and has since been grounded in all my work focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether that be through my research efforts that I led in the laboratory up to the efforts that we're leading right now as we are deploying our Nist DEIA strategic plan. So for those of you who may not know Nist, I often like to refer to Nist as the most unknown known agency. We are with you from sunup to sundown, and the measurements that we make in our institute really help to drive commerce, trade, and innovation. Our mission at Nist is to promote U.S. innovation and industrial competitiveness by advancing measurement science, standards, and technology in ways that enhance economic security and improve our quality of life. Nist is located, our headquarters is located in Gaithersburg, Maryland, not too far from the DC area. And we also have locations found in Boulder, Colorado, as well as several other centers of excellence and institutes across the country. Our staff consists of almost 7,000, where about 3,500 are federal employees, and then just as much or equal to that many are our contractors or associate population. We are known for our reputation. We have 5 Nobel laureates that have come through our doors and a large presence on several professional societies and other organizations. We also have several extramural programs that have a broad reach across the entire country. Within our organization, we have several STEM-based laboratories that you may find yourself working at and enjoy doing research yourself. We have 2 metrology-based laboratories, which is our material measurement laboratory, as well as our physical measurement laboratory. We have technology-based laboratories, including our engineering laboratory, our information technology laboratory, and communication technology laboratory. And then we also have user facilities that are accessible to students and faculty across the country. So what are some opportunities for you? We have a number of different internship programs, fellowships that you may want to take advantage of. As an undergraduate student, you may be interested in learning about our SURF program or our Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship program. This program offers a paid internship experience for 11 weeks and allows you to conduct hands-on research working side by side with our world-class scientists and engineers. To be eligible for this program, you do have to be enrolled within an institution, and we have had a broad reach of HBCU students that have participated in these programs. For all of the programs that I'm talking about, you can head to nist.gov in order to see any details about the programs themselves. If you are in graduate school, we also have a program called the Graduate Student Measurement Science and Engineering Fellowship Program, or the GMSE program. Now, this program helps to offset tuition costs while you are enrolled in school and also provides a stipend while you're conducting research through an internship portion while you are obtaining your master's or your PhD. Now, this program is administered through a cooperative agreement that we have with the Graduate Fellowships for STEM Diversity Consortium, and there are over 150 universities, including many HBCUs, that are a part of that consortium. So if you're interested in that program, you would head over to the GFSD website, which is stemfellowships.org, in order to put your name in the hat for an application. The application period for that one runs from August of this year through December of this year, and then we would be able to bring you on board through the summer, beginning of the summer of next year. But it's a great way to earn money while you're completing your degree and gain additional experience throughout your tenure while you're completing your advanced degree. If you are looking for placement once you have finished your graduate degree, specifically your PhD, we also have a wonderful program called the Nrc Postdoc Program. And this is actually the program that brought me into the institution. So with that program, again, it is a paid 2-year term federal employment opportunity for you where you would again get to conduct world-class research within our organization. I'd be happy to talk more about any of these opportunities with any of you all if you reach out to me, but looking forward to the rest of today's conversation. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Joanne so we can hear more from the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pritchett. That was excellent. So now we are going to pivot to Mr. Barrett Haga. Barrett he's a senior administrator for economic engagement with the Economic Development Administration. And Barrett, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joanne. Really pleasure to be here. Such a great group. For those that don't know me, I'm Barrett Haga, the Senior Engagement Administrator for the Economic Development Administration. Joanne Hill and I have kind of been the two relatively leads for this initiative, Department of Commerce and the White House, for about 10 years now. So it's always a pleasure working with Joanne and always a pleasure presenting at this conference. I'm going to take a little bit different approach here. I'm going to pivot a little bit and talking about more of a systems approach. The Economic Development Administration, we kind of lead the federal economic development agenda for the United States. My role in that is kind of enhancing our economic connectivity function of that. I am the delegate to the Organization of American States for the Department of Commerce for what's called the America's Competitiveness Exchange, which is the premier economic development, innovation, and entrepreneurial network of the Americas, as well as sitting on these a lot of these task forces to really take the EDA assets and engage them into a better ecosystem across the way. EDA, like I said, leads the federal economic development agenda by providing grants, best practices, research, technical assistance to a variety of entities, of which HBCUs are one of the eligible entities for our grants. When you look at the entire piece there, HBCUs in the region need to be part of the economic ecosystem. And what we're looking for is trying to get HBCUs to the table as part of the comprehensive economic development strategy. What that means is the economic assets of the HBCU should be working with the economic assets of the region to drive innovation, entrepreneurship, and really economic opportunity. I like to use the phrase, if you're not at the table, you cannot eat. So we want HBCUs on that table with their economic assets as part of that region. We fund about 85% of those regional comprehensive economic development strategies in the US. If you're not part of an EDA funded region, the other regions use our plans, our methodologies, and our processes. So you should be at the table first and foremost for those regional plans. EDA is really a grant agency. What we do is provide, on our average grant size, $1 to $3 million for various projects. And I'm going to highlight a few of those as we go on. As we talk about here, we're talking about STEM leaders and creating an opportunity. Every year we run a STEM challenge out of our Office of Innovation Entrepreneurship, which provides a little bit of money, about $250,000, to look at the next generation concepts. Is your HBCU rewriting the book on what it means to be a STEM leader? Is your HBCU rewriting the catalog or changing the systemic approach to STEM education? So this provides that as a pilot program or expansion of a program, et cetera, to get those models and best practices to the national scale. Our other programs, we have a variety of them. One of them is our University Center program, which really, we funded a University Center in every single state. They're there to work that localized ecosystem, to look at startups, bridging the valley of death for those startups, getting them into that ecosystem. I want to highlight that many of many HBCUs are university centers. Morgan State, FAMU, Southern, and many, many others are part of that dialogue. We just announced a couple of university centers in our Atlanta region, and we announced multiple HBCUs as winners of that. That's a 5-year grant program, so it provides stability in an economic ecosystem. We have a variety of other programs, but instead of looking at other programs in buckets, I want to ask this question: where is of value to your HBCU? What is of value to your HBCU in the ecosystem that can create the growth delta for jobs? If you see a project within that, whether it's a lab, an incubator, economic partnership opportunity, a venture capital fund, work with our local regional offices across the country. We have a local rep in every state. Work with them to look at what bucket of funds that project could be competitive in for our entire system. So we run a variety of about 10 to 15 per year, but it really starts with what's your idea, what's your project, and have us work with you to see where those go. Finally, I want to talk about the America's Competitive Exchange Program, which I run at the agency. If you're thinking of an HBCU, one of the things is, how do you raise the lens of your phenomenal programs? How do you get international leaders and international researchers as part of that? The America's Competitive Exchange is held twice per year, once in the United States and once in a foreign country. ACE Ecuador is coming up in November. We'll be sending a delegation of about 10 of the global delegation of 50 to look at every single major asset from Ecuador, including the visiting with the president of Ecuador, all the way down to the largest company. Then ACE Seattle will be hosted after that. There is a spot reserved for an HBCU on every single ACE program. It needs to be at the highest levels, thinking vice president, C-suite, presidential level, to take the assets of the HBCU to link them up on a very global scale. FAMU was there with President Robinson. Southern just was highlighted on ACE Louisiana. Dillard was highlighted in ACE Louisiana. Xavier was highlighted in ACE Louisiana. And they already got brand new research agreements with global partners, whether it's Tech de Monterey, whether it's Germany, whether it's Israel, whether it's Canada, working with those major labs and facilities. So we're happy to be there to help HBCUs advance their mission. And I want to leave you with this thought. EDA looks at projects under multiple investment priorities. Our number one investment priority is equity. We want to invest in equity. We want to invest in HBCUs. We want to invest in those that are traditionally underserved, to bring them to the table, to create high-wage, high-skill jobs, to change the entire dynamic, and to better the lives of all of our citizens. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Barrett. And you have your plate full. And I know firsthand, to your point, after working with you and collaborating over the years, what EDA has done and how we both have kind of kept our finger at the pulse of all of the great investments that the U.S. Department of Commerce has made intentionally in HBCU. So thank you so much for all that you do and for sharing all of the current as well as prospective future investments that you will be making in HBCUs. So next up, we're going to have Ms. Stephanie Watson. Dr. Watson is the Chief of Diversity and Inclusion for the U.S. Census.
Thank you so much, Joanne. So I'm very happy to be here with you all today. As Joanne mentioned, my name is Stephanie Watson. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Officer at the United States Census Bureau. And in my role, I develop and lead strategies on outreach, advancement, and retention. I'm passionate about the work that I do for a few reasons. I understand how important the work that our team does in the Office of Equal Employment Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion, how it contributes to the continued growth and success of the Census Bureau. I was actually recruited into the federal government by the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a federal career intern in 2008. And most people that know me know that I'm a country girl at heart. I hail from the great state of Kentucky. I've been personally immensely blessed by my relationships with the very talented staff of HBCUs, my mother, my father, one of my younger sisters, and many of my relatives that have gone before me graduated from Kentucky State University. And I've had the pleasure of working at Kentucky State University for several years myself. So I'm here today to share that with the support of the Census Bureau Director, Mr. Robert Santos, and Deputy Director Ron Jarman, we're advancing our outreach and employment opportunities at the Census Bureau for students and fellows. I'm excited to share that the Census Bureau is currently seeking data scientists to support its role as the nation's leading provider of quality data about its people and economy. And as we expand and refine our methods for data collection, analysis, dissemination, data science has become increasingly critical for our researchers and statisticians. We're seeking passionate data scientists at all levels to help us hone our methodologies, develop innovative talents, and enhance outputs for the more than 100 surveys, censuses, and statistical programs conducted by the Census Bureau each year. We are reflected across the country. We have representation across the country, from the West Coast in California, down south to Texas, all the way up north, all the way to New York. So we have folks at the Census Bureau employed throughout the entire country. It's a unique opportunity to work for the Census Bureau. It's a great place to work. I would describe the Census Bureau as a very engaging, highly collaborative environment, where, you know, when you want to work someplace sometimes where people care about you, it's sometimes about, you know, people taking that personal time to pay attention to you as an individual, not just what you do to contribute to the organization. And I think that's something very unique about the Census Bureau. And this is an opportunity for us to help shape data science landscape for premier data collection within the organization. You can look us up in many different avenues. We're on social media, we're on Facebook and on Twitter. So please check us out. We also have a newly revamped careers website that I'd like to share with you all. If you go to census.gov, you can look us up under Census Careers. So there's a lot of really good information out there. We care very much about equity and inclusion. We recruit everyone, regardless of, you know, where you come from or your abilities. So, you know, we have selective placement programs for individuals with disabilities. We have, of course, competitive service. We have career transitioning programs, and we also have special authorities, and we do a lot of recruitment with for veterans as well. Some of the positions that are currently open are GS 7 and 9 data scientists, and those positions go all the way up to GS 13. So we have some 11, 12 positions and GS 13 positions open as well. We have a number of other resources. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to connect. Our contact information will be in the packet that Ms. Joanne Hill is going to provide. We have a slide deck that we'd also like to provide and share. If there are any other opportunities to connect with you all, you know, we have you know, several ways that you can reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our recruiter at census.gov. So that's RECRUITER at census.gov. And then also the personal contact information for our human resource division will be a part of the slide deck as well. So we look forward to hearing from you. We hope that you reach out with any questions that you might have. You know, we'd love to make you a part of the Census Bureau family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. And wow, what a rich lineage and legacy with the whole family of HBCUers, if you will. Congratulations on that. And thank you for all of what you do at the Census Bureau. And as you indicated, as we live in an evidence-based society where everybody wants to know, show me the data, show me the evidence, and they love empirical evidence, while we know anecdotal evidence is very important as well. But what you do at Census is really extremely important these days, even more so as we continue to move forward with using data and evidence to substantiate, and I can't help but say it, programs like the ones and priorities such as those that we're talking about today. All things diversity, inclusion, and equity. So with that, I'd like to bring up our next presenter, Dr. Natasha White, who is the program manager for Noaa, Noaa's Office of Education. Natasha?
Thank you so much, Joanne. My name is, again, Natasha White, and I'm one of the program managers for the Noaa Office of Education, Educational Partnership Program with Minority Serving Institutions, or EPPMSI for short. I am a proud graduate of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University and a product of Noaa's investment in the minority serving community, particularly HBCUs. So I joined the Noaa workforce 15 years ago as a graduate scientist with the National Ocean Service. So I did also start off as a scientist, and I did that for 12 amazing years. But I saw the opportunity to come to the program that brought me into the agency. So the EPP MSI program, which is NOAA's largest investment in education, was the sponsor of the program that brought me into the agency. And when I had the opportunity to come and work with this program, I saw it as an opportunity to pay it forward to the next generation of STEM leaders. I wanted to ensure the work that we do continues beyond the 20 years of work that we have done. So the goals and objectives of the Educational Partnership Program is to provide financial support to academic institutions with particular focus on broadening participation of individuals from historically excluded and traditionally underrepresented minority communities. So what we do is not only do we provide funding for tuition and travel to conferences, but we also provide invaluable internship opportunities to our students. So part of what I do as a program manager is I get to work with students almost on a daily basis, but I also get to work, and I know Ben talked about it previously, with the cooperative science centers. And our cooperative science centers are 28 institutions, I'm sorry, who are led by minority serving institutions, and they're all the professors that provide the academic training for the students, but we do it in collaboration with Noaa. And the reason that we do this is because we want to ensure that these students are eligible candidates for our future STEM workforce. Noaa has some work to do in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they've been investing in this program for the past 20 years, and we've certainly made some strides. But we want to ensure that the future workforce at Noaa mirrors more so of the American public versus what we've seen in the past. And the EPP MSI program has done a lot of work to make the changes that we need to see among scientists in our STEM workforce. So currently we have, and these scholarships opportunities are open now. Undergraduate Scholarship Program offers up to $45,000 in financial support to rising sophomore students. So anyone listening who is a rising sophomore or currently in their sophomore year, you're eligible to apply for these opportunities. In addition to financial support during your academic year, you will receive 2 summer internships at Noaa. These are opportunities for you to not only hone your science skills, but you can also receive additional professional development training, which will help you to further solidify your goals as you continue your career beyond your undergraduate degree, as well as to start your professional network. Another great benefit of joining one of these Noaa scholarship or internship programs is that successful completion of this program grants you the eligibility for direct hire. Direct hire essentially means that Noaa can hire you non-competitively to a federal position. And this is huge because a federal job is a wonderful thing to have, but it's not exactly the easiest thing to obtain. So we've taken out some of that red tape associated with federal hiring, and we're offering students who participate in our program the opportunity to join our workforce. And because you will have this hands-on training through our programs, we will feel that you would be one of the most qualified candidates to join our workforce. So we hope that you will join us. Noaa has a virtual presence here at the HBCU Week Conference. Check out the Noaa website for the conference, where we will be hosting interviews. People will be there from the Office of Education to provide tips on successful applications to scholarships, and just come over and meet us, and we're happy to answer any questions. We will also be providing some materials with instructions as far as how to access our scholarships and internship programs. And I will also provide my personal contact information as well as other pertinent information so that you can gain access to the Noaa Office of Education or me specifically. And I'll turn it back over to Joanne.
Thank you, Natasha. And that was excellent. And for the viewers and participants, you can find our contact information in the chat. We will make certain that you have access to all of the contact information for the programs and resources that have been shared today on our panel. So I did want to acknowledge that. So the next part of our conversation, I'd like to have, you've heard, just about all of us are HBCUers, if you will, and Barrett, we're just going to adopt you. um, but I'd like for us to talk about what's it like and what has been your experience like to work for the Department of Commerce as an HBCU grad, and how has it benefited you in your career? And I'm going to start back with you, Natasha. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. It's been an interesting ride, and I say that my HBCU prepared me to be internally confident in who I am, to present myself in an environment that I wasn't accustomed to being in. So I attended Florida A&M University for all of my both my undergraduate and graduate degrees. So I had never worked in an environment where I was a minority. I've always been among the majority. And I will say that it prepared me not only with the skills I needed, but with the internal confidence to just be my authentic self in a space where it was foreign to me. I was very fortunate that I had excellent mentors at Noaa, and that's one of the best things. And what's kept me here at the agency is the quality of the scientists, as well as their willingness to nurture the next generation. I had excellent mentors. I was welcomed into the agency, and really they cultivated in me some things that I had not recognized about myself. So it's been an excellent experience. And I would not trade it, or, of course I wouldn't have attended another institution other than Florida A&M.
That's phenomenal. And you got a wonderful marching band, by the way.
We do.
That was profiled on Ace Florida at the state capitol, by the way. Go Rattlers.
Go Rattlers.
Oh, thank you, Barry. Yes, yes, yes. Love those marching bands. That's what gets the crowd crunk. So with that, why don't we pivot to Stephanie with the richness of the lineage and legacy, the whole family.
Right, the whole family. I actually didn't go to a HBCU or graduate from a HBCU, but I worked at Kentucky State University for 3 years. What I can tell you is when I first came to DC, it was a huge culture shock. Because, it's one thing about, my family and our relationship with Kentucky State is it's more of a family environment. You can't go anywhere without people knowing who you are, checking on you, making sure you're okay. Before I even came up to DC, I had to listen to a lecture from one of my mentors about speaking grammatically correct and making sure that I represented, the family, right? It's not just the small family, but represented the family well. And I really appreciated that. Most of those people were like in their 80s back then, so they're no longer with us, but I still remember their words of encouragement. I would say being at the Census Bureau, it's a very similar type of environment, unlike most other agencies. We're very large, very siloed, but we have a very close working relationship, not just in my office, but across the Bureau. I would say, a lot of the folks that I work with don't do diversity and inclusion work. I work with a lot of data scientists, a lot of statisticians, economists. I work with a lot of people. We have an opportunity to engage on a regular basis. One thing I think is important to us all is that, having the right people at the table very early in the conversation is critical. I mean, we understand that. And I think that, everyone is working towards a common goal. And that common goal is making sure that we recruit and have, that rich diversity within the talent pool, building that talent pipeline and making sure that the right people for the positions and the right personalities, not just personalities that can get the work done, reach out to the American public, but the personalities that can lead and guide the workforce, are mobilized to get the work done. We have a lot of affinity groups that work with us. Actually, earlier today, I just got off a call with our diversity council and affinity groups. And so this concept of making sure that people are taken care of, mental health, physical health, knowledge sharing, that happens every single week at the Census Bureau. I mean, as an employee, we receive a lot of announcements from varying offices that make sure that we know what we need to know before we are in the position where we have to share the information. So a lot of employees participate in our affinity groups because it's an opportunity to provide that knowledge sharing and have that type of family, small type of environment. And a number of employees have benefited from retention strategies as well, not wanting to go on to another agency, similar to what Natasha was saying, because you have a group of mentors, you have people that care about your advancement and growth. And I'm someone that's been at a couple of different agencies in my career, but that in this type of environment, we're still teleworking remotely. Leadership is still trying to figure out, how to take care of the people. And I value that. I value that a lot. I think that a number of my colleagues would say that that's something unique about the Census Bureau. And, just being able to share that with others on the call, hopefully, that would make a difference in their selection as well. So I encourage you to explore the Census Bureau because most people have no idea what we have to offer.
That's excellent. And I can relate to so many of the nuggets you just shared about the richness of having the experience of going to an HBCU. And I know you said that you did not go to an HBCU, but you teach there at the University of Kentucky. And I heard you loud and clear. You said your parents were both HBCU grads, and I took special note of that. But they bred a wonderful leader in you. So thanks for all that you do. And now we're going to go to Dr. Pritchett. Janita.
Thank you so much. So similar to my colleagues here, when I look back at my journey as a HBCU, attending a HBCU, and also similar to Stephanie, my parents are both HBCU grads. They met at Alabama A&M, went to Howard for their master's. I'm a second generation scientist. So when I think about like what I gleaned from my HBCU experience, when I went to Tennessee State, I knew absolutely nobody. But because of the family environment, because of the support system that's there, I quickly realized how important it was to connect with others and start networking and looking for different opportunities. And that skill set, that muscle that I got to work on while I was attending school, really set the foundation that I needed to be able to network and do the same thing for my career once I got to the department. When I came here on a 2-year term. But because of those communication skills that I was able to work on while I was at HBCU, because of the mentors that I had that were in my life, the advisor that I had, I kind of understood what I needed to do once I got to the organization to make myself an asset to the organization and be retained. And so now in my current role, I really try to help uplift that next generation to ensure that they feel supported, make sure that they understand how to navigate the ropes. And I think when I look at just the landscape of people or my peers that are within the organization, there are so many that have that same outlook on life that are really they want to see everyone succeed. Similar to what Stephanie mentioned, we have a large number of affinity or employee resource groups. We have over 30. And through those groups, we like to use that not only as a support mechanism for the different communities or affinities that they represent, but also as an educational tool that we could use to help bring in allies, bring in supporters, so they understand the unique needs that a specific community may have. And then the other thing I think that my HBCU experience prepared me to be in my career is be resilient and be creative. I can't think of how many times, while I was in school that I had to just figure out how to make something work. And whether that's get a project done or, make sure that I was being funded throughout the school year. And that resilience that was built while I was in school has definitely maintained itself and been present throughout my entire career. So I think my HBCU experience definitely prepared me for the journey that I've been on since I've been within the department.
Beautiful. Thank you. That is, again, so much so much memories that are reignited when you hear these stories, that are being shared here today. And I'm sure for those of you that are listening, I'm sure you're going, yes, 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 as I am, as I sit here. And I'll share a little bit about my experience and how it's prepared me for my career after we hear from our HBCU adoptee, Barrett. Barrett, I know you know plenty of people that have gone to HBCUs that have talked about all the richness and some of the legacy that you can share with us.
Well, I think maybe I want to pivot to a little bit of a personal story and to kind of
Sure.
recognize where many of the HBCU undergrads and grads are coming from. A little personal story is I am the son of a first generation immigrant. My mother fled the demilitarized zone of South Korea, had nothing, put herself through school, had my brother and I, and really drove in a single point that many HBCU students have, that is the drive to thrive. That specific piece that they've got, that when you look around your classrooms, is that drive to provide for your, not just your generation, but your next generation, to move up that ladder, to make things a better world. And that was a item that my mother taught me when she came here, at 16 with nothing. And so that drive to thrive, to be better, and that really helps create an opportunity that we see here. And one of the opportunities from HBCU grads that I look for when I either am hiring them or interviewing them or working with them as partners is, can we get a diversity of thought which creates a diversity of options, which those options create a diversity of opportunity. All those different things to get these different mindsets, these different backgrounds, the different thoughts, the different processes to the table, so that we can make choices as a group, as a society, as towards equitable, diversified, long-term economic development is what we're really looking for. So I'm really looking forward to working with many of the HBCUs here. It's like, as I alluded to earlier, it's been one of my portfolio positions here for about 10 years now. And it's probably the one I enjoy the most, because as I look back at where my family came from and where my mother's come from, and moving my family up ladder by ladder each generation, it's something that I can relate to, and I see when I'm hiring HBCUs, I'm interviewing, working with them, and that thing of driving to thrive is what I really hope that all of us can really look forward to.
Thanks so much, Barrett. And that is such an inspirational story. Um, we can all relate to what you've shared, but thank you. Thank you for sharing the journey of your mother uh, and her coming to the United States and giving us you to be with us. We value you as a partner, and I see why now. That helps to substantiate why you've been in this wonderful organization of working with as a liaison with me jointly to the White House Initiative on HBCUs. Barrett, as he indicated earlier, we tag team. I serve as the representative for the U.S. Department of Commerce to the initiative, and typically we tag team. So there are times when I'm not there, when Barrett says, I got it, I'll take care of it. And I thank you for that, Barrett. He is very comfortable, he is very at ease, and it's obvious why he is such. I'd like to share, for me personally, the thing that I realized early on when I chose to, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, grew up in a little small town, South Congaree, right outside of Columbia, and I chose to stay home to go to college. And when I went to Benedict, the thing that I realized real quickly is that it's like a family. They take you in, and it's like you automatically become a member of the family. And failure is not an option. They want you to be successful, and they're going to do everything it takes for you to be successful. I can remember for me, as I had mentors, uh, got adopted into all of the networks on the campus immediately, made friends with people from all over the country who were just like me, young, eager, looking for a chance to get educated and figure out my path in life. And it was because of that HBCU that I firmly believe that I was successful in completing an undergraduate degree in business administration. I had 3 job offers when I finished. I had 3 job offers, one with Sony of America, one with the IBM, and one with the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I ended up taking the job with the FDIC through a program that they offered, and an outstanding scholars program. And that was my journey. That's what got me started. When I prepared for those interviews, to the point that was made earlier, they made sure that I was dressed properly. They told me that I needed to have a navy blue suit and I needed to have a navy purse and what kind of shoes I needed to wear. And you had to be coached, before you went to your interviews. You had a counselor, remember those? Back then we had counselors that would coach us at the HBCUs. And that is a part of the richness and legacy that still remains today. And those are the kind of qualities that you just don't get everywhere. You just don't get that. And they hold your hand and they make sure that they're like the wind beneath your wings, so to speak. And so I am forever grateful, and I always give back, look back. In fact, we have our first female president now at Benedict College, Dr. Rosalind Artis, who we're very proud of. She is the first female president of the college. And for those of you who study history, the history buffs, we were actually founded by a female out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And there's a lot of history behind that and how the school came about. As many of you know, the history and legacy of HBCUs and how they originated. But I take a lot of pride in having gone there, because my career with the FDIC and continuing on with a couple of in-between opportunities, one with the city of Atlanta, and then onward to where I am today with the U.S. Department of Commerce for now almost just over 2 decades. I give all of that back to the breeding of the HBCU and what it did for me to prepare and lay the foundation for who I am today. And so it gives me such great pride to talk about that and share with those young folk who are listening and who are aspiring and wanting to know, what can I be or how can I be a part of the federal service and be of service? You're looking at it. As you look around the screen right now and you see the faces and you've heard the presentations, and please take note. Each of these presenters, with the exception of myself as a part of this panel, are PhDs. That can be you. You can be one of them. I'm not a PhD, but I am an MBA.
We'll give you an honorary
So-
one. You're an honorary PhD.
Thank you, Barrett. But you can see, this can be you, and you are the future. And you heard us talk about, as we talk throughout the day, about scholarships. Please remember to take a look at the chat and look for the websites where you can learn about scholarships. You heard put very plainly that often many of these agencies offer direct hiring. That's huge. I mean, you can get hired on the spot. So when you heard Noaa talk about the different events and activities that they're going to be doing throughout the conference, show up and make certain that you're there so you can learn about it. If you're a chancellor or a president or a representative from a university and you want to know more about the direct hires and the grants and the contracts, please follow up to us from today's session. And the career opportunities. We will also make certain that we drop these opportunities in the HBCU newsletter. So I know that you all watch and read those newsletters that come out on a weekly basis. Stay on the lookout for the opportunities that we're talking about here today. so that you can keep up with all that the Commerce Department has to offer. And the last point that I'd like to make is make certain that you stay on the lookout for grants. There are a lot of grants that are available to help you and your universities. I will say that the historically Black colleges and universities are at the top of this administration's agenda. Our president is serious about historically Black colleges and universities and making certain that they have a seat at the table and that they're giving back in support of them. We have this window of opportunity that we have here, and we really do need to make certain that we are postured and prepared to take advantage of it. And by your being here with us today, you've proven that. So in the last 5 minutes, what I'd like to do is just go around the bull's horn and have everybody share in a couple of sentences what you'd like to leave with our participants today about your agencies and bureaus and how they can tap into some of the great opportunities that you've talked about. I'm going to go around my screen where I see the way I see your faces. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Pritchett.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for serving as a wonderful moderator. So again, if anybody's interested in learning about the different opportunities that we offer for you while you're in your education journey right now, head over to www.nist.gov, so NIST.gov. You can also shoot me an email, my first name dot last name @nist.gov. I'm happy to help direct you into the right place so that you can get in contact with the program managers. Also, for our federal job opportunities, we host all of those on usajobs.gov. So you can go there, put your field of interest and put NIST as a keyword, and then you'll be able to see all those opportunities that are available for you. Again, thank you so much and looking forward to connecting with you all.
Wonderful. Stephanie?
Thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership and bringing us together, Joanne. I'd just like to add that, as you start your career, the path that you may see right now may not be the course that you may travel. And so getting an opportunity in the federal government is the largest employer in our country, gives you many opportunities to work stateside, to travel overseas. And so I encourage you to take whatever opportunity presents itself if you think it's a good fit for you. And you can also check us out again on census.gov. The contact information for our Human Resources Office is on there. They also do direct hire, but there are a number of other internship programs that we sponsor during the summer and during the winter months as well. So even when you're outside of school, there are opportunities for you to take advantage of. Meet the people, make the connections, build your network. I think everybody on this call is sharing that with you today. That's how you're going to get your dream job. So I wish you the best of luck and thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Barrett, a couple of sentences, and then we're going to wrap up with Natasha.
EDA as a grant agency, we have multiple grant opportunities, and trying to find that system of where you fit is what we're trying to do. EDA.gov is our website. If you click the contact tab, your local rep will pop right up based on your state. And so I'll leave you with this one thought. When you're looking at grants, whether it's EDA, NIH, MBDA, etc., I want you to leverage your past to plan out your future. Look at your culture, look at your opportunity, look at your strength, and go towards those items. And when you're applying for those grant programs, link up those assets with your regional assets, your other regional partners, to really make a systemic change. If we're going to change the system, we want you to be at that table to help change that system. So looking forward to seeing many more HBCU applications come in for our portfolio at EDA, and looking forward to you working with all of our federal family, particularly here at the Department of Commerce. Thank you for the time today, and looking forward to many more opportunities with all of you.
Thank you, Barrett. Natasha?
Thank you so much, Joanne, for the opportunity to speak on this panel today. And I want to share with those of you listening that Noaa is committed to not only working with the minority serving institutions community, but with HBCUs. We've been doing so for 20 years, and we look forward to doing more of that great work in the future. For anyone interested in Noaa scholarship and internship programs, most of our applications and recruitments are happening now. So feel free to go to noaa.gov and visit our education page to gain access to those opportunities. We will also provide links directly to our scholarship pages in the chat, as well as in the associated materials for this panel discussion. And also you can feel free to contact me at natasha.white@noaa.gov. I'm always happy to answer questions. I look forward to interacting with you all and meeting you all throughout this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. And thank you all for joining us. For MBDA grants, please visit mbda.gov. Thank you for joining Cultivating the Next Generation of STEM Leaders session today. On behalf of the U.S. Department of Commerce and all of our leadership, including our Secretary, our Deputy Secretary of Commerce, and all other leaders, thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference. Have a wonderful day.